Welcome to Something to Talk About from the Bainbridge Island Senior Community Center. I'm Reed Price. I'm the director of the center, and today we're going to be talking with Sue, Constan, and Laurie de Leonne about a wonderful program that we have done before, but we're doing it again in capital letters with Woodward students as part of a program that they do on a regular basis to reach out to various parts of the community. Before we get to that, I would like to thank Fieldstone Communities of Bainbridge Island for sponsoring Something to Talk About. We appreciate our sponsors very much. Fieldstone offers independent living, assisted living, and a vibrant memory care community up on Rolling Bay. You can also find out about day stay and respite programs by calling 206-594-1010. Ask for Celia or Jamie, and you can check them out at fieldstonecommunities.com. We are meeting on the ancestral homeland of the Suquamish people, the people of the clear salt water who have lived on the waters of the Salish Sea since time immemorial, and we honor them and are learning from their stewardship of these lands and waters. Sue, I want to thank you again for helping us get organized around this wonderful program that you have created with others at the school to reach out to learn more about parts of our community, not only seniors, but that this year is the focus, right?
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about the deep dive concept that you do.
Okay. Well, it was, and I think this is the second time I've been on this program. I really talked a couple years ago about some research that I had the opportunity to participate in Singapore through a Fulbright fellowship. And it was a research fellowship. And I observed at quite a few schools there. And they had a program, every school in Singapore. And the Singapore school district, Ministry of Education, is about the size of probably LA Unified School District. So it's not huge, but they have a very big focus on values. Every school has a certain set of values and then different programs within the school that are school-wide to learn about, for students to learn about those values and grow those values. And so in my research there, came up with an idea that we're using at Woodward called the deep dive. And it was based on some of the programs that took place there. So that's kind of where the idea came from, the research came from. And then specifically what it is, it sounds like you Read that kind of the next question is what exactly is the deep dive?
Well, I know that last year, I think you were focusing on immigrants. Is that right?
Last year it was refugees in our community. At Woodward, we have students for 2 years. So this is our third year of doing the deep dive. It takes place in April. And actually we've started it here. The first lesson, we use our seminar lessons. Seminar lessons happen every Monday in fourth period, and it's our social emotional learning platform. And as part of the deep dive, we're taking 4 Mondays. That's one part of the deep dive, to introduce what the deep dive is to our students and start the process of learning. And so our first lesson was actually this last Monday. So what was your question? Keep going.
Okay, so the question is, this year, not refugees, but senior citizens?
Yes. So again, our third year. So our first year, we focused on senior citizens in the community. And that was the first year that we partnered with the Bainbridge Senior Center. And that was the first year of the concert that Laurie will talk to you about. And last year it was refugees in our community. So a very different deep dive, but some of the similar elements. And now, because we only have students for 2 years, our third year is going back to senior citizens in the community. It was such a success, but we've actually added a few components to the program that we didn't have the first year.
So among those components that you've added, or the components that we can look forward to, what are you doing this year for kids and with us, seniors?
For sure. And I have a slide. I have sort of, it's like our, and I think I should be able to share. Do I have sharing ability?
Yeah.
Oh my
You
gosh,
should.
I have so many things on my desk, of course. But let's see, there's our reader bar. Let me see if I can find it. I haven't used Zoom for so long. Documents, I should have probably sent it to you, Reed. Maybe I'll try to do that right now. Hey, just give me one moment.
Okay, well, maybe while you're doing that, I can ask Laurie to talk to us a little bit about this concert thing, which we have done 3 times now, actually.
Yeah,
Thanks to the hard work of Laurie and Nancy and the Evergreen Singers, which is our choral group here at the Senior Community Center.
yeah, that's a great program.
So this is just a wonderful partnership between the Senior Center Evergreen Singers and the Woodward Middle School Choir. Um, Musically, the needs kind of dovetail a bit. You know, it's often hard to find tenor and basses, get our bases covered, you know, in the choir, because the middle school boys don't necessarily have that range yet. It's developing range. So when we come together musically, we have all the parts covered. And so it's just so exciting, you know, to get to hear this kind of full component. And then sometimes hard to find high sopranos in the senior community as the voice tends to mature and settle. And so here we have this influx of a lot of youthful sopranos. So when we come together, it's really kind of musical magic. And you know, that's social magic too. You know, at its heart, music is a social art. And so we do this together. And yeah,
So,
there's all kinds of things. Like you get
so
in.
Laurie, you've been directing the Senior Community Center choir for several years, a few years now. And can you talk a little bit about the experience of your choristers when they get to hang out and practice and work on a song with the middle schoolers?
I think it's wonderful. Like there's an experience that I see of the seniors really having a chance to mentor a little bit and do so, but very authentically by doing the work. You know, they sit amongst the middle schoolers and they're doing the thing. It was really fun. One of the members was singing next to their granddaughter, which was really neat. I think that was a year or two ago, and it was just, you know, there's not a lot of talking. I mean, we're united in common mission, but to get to use that position, that kind of statesman position, to demonstrate physically that music is a lifelong act. This is not something only for school. This is part of our community. It's part of our world, you know, and we get to do it. And just the presence even of the seniors there shows very demonstrably that this is not like glory days in your school and then you're done with it. You never get to touch it again. You know, you get to have this for a lifetime. This is part of a rich life.
So when is the concert this year going to be?
Oh boy, now I'm going to have to
Sue,
look. I
Sue
mean,
I
might
can
not.
tell you. Yeah, actually, Reed, I shared those two slides with you.
Okay.
Um, and if you pull them up, actually, the second slide is about the Music for All Generations concert. The first year we did it when we focused on senior citizens in our community, it was at Eagle Harbor Congregational Church. And it was probably the highlight for me of the deep dive. I mean, even as an educator, I was like, this is amazing. It was amazing. And then last year we didn't focus on senior citizens in our community, and Lori and Beth and Paul were like, can we just keep doing it? I'm like, yeah, we gotta keep doing it. And so last year it was at Woodward, and I was like, oh, it's not gonna be as intimate. There won't be as many people. It was still standing room only, and it was just as awesome. And then again this year it's on the 30th, and we will get some images to you, Reed, and I'll send it to you too, as Lori. We have a wonderful eighth grade parent who's done so many graphics for us, and she's created the poster the last couple of years. So it's Wednesday, April 30th at 6:30 at Woodward. And then I think also the group, both the Woodward Choir and a few members, hopefully as many that can do it, are going to perform at our Spirit Assembly, just one of the songs that Friday, at the end of the day, because a lot of the students don't come to the concert, but they'll have a chance to see them at the assembly, which will be kind of the last thing that we do as part of our deep dive. And I think it's going to be kind of special. So
I know it will because I've been to those
Yeah.
concerts and they are electric. I mean, I think last year, did you guys sing When I'm 64 together, Laurie?
Yeah, that was fun. That was really fun.
The best thing about the first year is all the evergreen singers. It was some kind of like sailor shanties, and they all had on these hats. It was great. So, anyways, that is a wonderful concert if people can make it to it. So,
So, and a perfect kind of conclusion for this month-long deep dive,
yeah,
which I can now bring up the slide for people who are watching us on.
yeah. So the
Let's.
second one, you can go to the second one there. And we're gonna, actually, I gave the posters to the students today. So they'll start putting up those around town, and I'll get information out to the Bainbridge Review, and Senior Center hopefully will get the word out. So yeah, and so just invite whoever would like to join. So and then the first one is the deep dive graphic, and that kind of is a good talking point for me because it takes us through kind of what it is. And um, it's the whole idea of values in action. You know, the thing about values is you can teach kids values, what they mean, but how do you really teach it on a deeper level where they're having an understanding of what the value is, and then they start to incorporate it into their lives, right? And I have to say, with the deep dive and the value work that we've done at Woodward, it's only happened because the staff is behind it and the administration is behind it. And they've really embraced the deep dive and the value work. I mentioned that we have an eighth grade parent who's been a graphic designer for us, and she's donated her services. And if you walk into Woodward, we've been really working on just having banners everywhere that talk about our values because we want them to be front and center. But the deep dive is, and we introduce them to our new students and remind the eighth graders of what they are at the beginning of the year, and throughout the year incorporate values in different ways. But the deep dive is a 1 month focus on our values, right? So really diving deep. And we're doing it by learning about a population in our community. So this year it is senior citizens again, which was a very favorite type of, from 2 years ago. I always collect data, like, what'd you think? You know, did you feel like it did help you grow certain values? And the data, it's perception data, and it's been kind of amazing to get the by Laurie the data that's come from this. That shows really from the perception of the students that we're achieving our goal, right? So the who this year, senior citizens in our community. The why is to put our values into action, to practice our core values of connection, compassion, and integrity, and to learn and gain a different perspective from people in our community, right? And as we know, our senior citizens in our community have a lot to teach us. Their life experience is very different than 12 and 13 and 14-year-olds. And that's really kind of the nugget of our deep dive with our elders in our community. And we do that through seminar lessons. I mentioned seminar lessons. And again, that's our social emotional learning platform, that are lessons that have been developed by Woodward educators over the years. So we have 4 different lessons that involve the deep dive. We have collaboration with community groups, including Island Volunteer Caregivers, Bainbridge Senior Living, and the Bainbridge Senior Center, and then just individuals in the community as well. We and kind of the community events that are taking place this year is, number one, the concert we just talked about, the Music for All Generations concert on April 30th at Woodward. The first week back after spring break, next week we're on spring break, but the first week back after spring break, we are doing bingo again, and we did that a couple years ago. And Colleen Kielbert has been recruiting people. So if you're interested in playing bingo with Woodward students during lunch, it's kind of a hoot. Please contact Colleen Kielbert. She has been recruiting people for us. And then also an activity bus is going to be coming from Island Volunteer Caregivers. So We'll probably have between 15 to 25 seniors that day playing bingo with students. We also have Frank Yanga. Oh gosh, I want to say Yangamati. I think I said that correctly. Oh geez, I should have practiced that one. But he is an esteemed elder in our community and an amazing yoga instructor. And he is coming in right around bingo the 15th and 16th, and he's going to be teaching yoga to our for students from PE and art that choose to go do yoga with him. And we actually announced that today, and there's quite a few students signing up. So that's the first week. The second week, we're going to have a panel discussion. And this panel discussion is going to be moderated by Bill Covert, who a lot of you may know. He was a teacher at Wilkes, which is now Halilkes, and also has done a lot of work with the Historical Society on Bainbridge Museum. And he's going to be our moderator. And these are going to be hour-long panel discussions that are bringing elders in from our community from various nationalities and cultures in our community. So we're going to have representatives from the Suquamish tribe, from the Japanese American community, from the Jewish community, from the Indo-Pino community. And there's just certain questions that our social studies teachers have put together to really have a moderated panel discussion with Bill moderating that. So, and really it's the kind of the wondering, and the focus of the panel is, what is the role of elders in your community? How have your values within your community been taught? What are lessons and stories that have been passed down through generations that teach values? So it's going back to values, but just how different communities on Bainbridge have honored values and taught values, and what is the role of elders in their community. So hopefully they're going to be sharing some stories. And then the last week, which is the week of the concert, is something we call the seminar tea, and it's on a Monday. And I believe an email went out to everyone in the Bainbridge senior community. We're looking for volunteers. And this is a time we bring in between 40 and 60 members of our community to go to class for an hour with either a 7th or 8th grade class. And we serve cookies and juice, and there's some questions that our middle school students want to ask their guests. And it might be, examples might be, what was your favorite memory from middle school? What advice would you give now, as an older person in our community? What advice would you give to your middle school self? Those are just some examples of questions that might be asked, and then they're also going to brainstorm some additional questions. So the volunteer commitment is about 2 hours. And again, we will pair 1 or 2 or 3 senior citizens into each classroom during their seminar class. So kind of an intergenerational activity. And then again, and the one thing I want to also say is every department, so the math department, the science department, the PE department, every department is also doing a lesson around this topic, our values and senior citizens, and it's a wide variety of different things that are going to be taught. You may have seen in the email that our math department is trying to collect data through a survey, and I think the survey is kind of a hoot to actually fill out, but also it shouldn't take long. So in your email, make sure to look for that that link for a survey for our math department. So that's kind of what the deep dive is. And then there's some reflection that takes place. And then the kind of the final step is values in action. And how do we take what we've learned and do something in our community, regarding our values, to either help other people or to reach out or to connect or to show compassion. And that's kind of the final step that we're brainstorming around here about what might that look like. Our leadership class has something that they are designing and going to do. And I'm trying to think about what are some things that as a community we can do to put our values in action.
Yeah, well, I think that this explicit discussion of ethics, values, morals is something that has kind of over the years, maybe because of, shifts in culture and sort of a movement to, I don't know why exactly, but it's so important to be explicit about that, especially with young people, but with all of us, to think about what are our values and how can we activate those in our lives every day. I want to call out Georgia Hanson, who is a sophomore, I think, at the high school,
Mhm.
who has worked really hard this year to keep the Silver Tech program alive, which is a situation where a program that we do with now with Kiwanis Key Club members, where high school students who have some technical awareness, which many high school kids do, share that with seniors who might be a little befuddled by their digital devices, and they bond over that. And that's kind of a ongoing program where former middle school students are helping seniors today.
Yeah, yeah. It's, a lot of it is planting the seed, right? Like the deep dive is planting the seed. And so, and I believe our Builders Club, which is part of maybe Kiwanis, we have something called Builders Club. I think actually Miss Brady, who oversees that, said that they're doing something in that regard. So maybe they're working with Georgia to actually go into some of the retirement homes and help.
Excellent.
Yeah, so that's another thing that actually she just told me about that. I'm like, that's awesome, so that's putting our values in action. So
Right. And you don't know exactly what plant it's going to grow when you plant the seed, but
exactly, exactly. It's a good reminder for me. I mean, all these lessons that we're developing, it's such a good reminder for me because my parents are aging, and I have to remember compassion and patience. And connecting and making that effort because I mean I'm in the same boat. So anytime I teach something as a school counselor, it's it benefits me too. It's a good
well,
reminder for me too. So
we're all aging at whatever
yes,
age.
yes, we are. From the day we were born, we started
Exactly.
aging. So,
In
yeah. So, yeah. So, any other questions for me?
I think that's great. I'm so impressed with this program. I'm so grateful you've shared it with the uh, district, with your school where you're a counselor, and I'm of course overjoyed that your colleagues have been so excited to pick it up and run with it. So,
For sure. It is a team effort. I'm just, the person talking about it, but it's completely a team effort. Yeah. So,
Joyce, did you have something you wanted to add?
No, I tuned in because I'm going to be on the panel in that week where you have senior centers, and I wanted to have a background of what I was expected to do, and so I'm excited. This is a great program. I just did the Deborah's survey on, and I
oh,
sent it out.
good.
And
Yeah.
yeah, and she got a lot of responses from uh, people that I sent out to a few, but then they sent it out to
Oh,
many, and
good. Yeah.
so we got lots of
She was
responses.
kind of worried on Monday. There was 3 responses, and I think last year we got a lot. So hopefully, the email, actually the email that Senior Center sent out today regarding the seminar tea, and hopefully the survey as well. I've already gotten quite a few emails. So thank you so much for doing that. Yeah.
The only thing I wanted to add was um, it's really nice to know that when I was teaching, I taught for 34 years at Woodward, and there was a time when we had to be careful not to impose values in our teaching,
Mhm.
and I really I kind of struggled with that because that's who we are, but it's nice that now it's very purposeful, that that we need to do that, especially now with in our society where we need to kind of get to come together with what we value. So I appreciate all your work. It's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
You know,
think I think there was I think we got a little confused about that because when there were concerns that there were values that might not be respectful, or that we might say things that might uh, not take into consideration other people's life experience. But when we talk about the kinds of things that you're talking about, Sue, these are shared values as humans that we can definitely ground ourselves in.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And we just were talking about in our seminar lesson on Monday, they're kind of a roadmap through middle school. They help, and they're community values, right? So there are Woodward community values that we all share. So I do though think that, I mean, middle schools can be tough for a lot of people, and they help kind of create guidelines and guideposts, really. So
Yeah,
um,
when you say connection, compassion, and integrity, those are things worth sharing.
yeah, for sure.
Thank you for your time, and thank you, Joyce, for joining us. And I'm looking forward to hearing and participating as I can through this month. And thank you, Joyce, for volunteering, because I think that it's really important that people who are not actively in the schools right now are joining in to make this a great experience for our